Yeah, but it's also because you probably have experience. You're not fucking 18.
Do you need me to show you? For self-explanatory, sustained at hospital. She was like, oh, okay. I have a whole like supply closet to make a housekeeping for.
So this is what I'm getting at grade. Right, so that's when you get on.
Then I can organize the closet however I want. That's exciting.
Well, something comes in and changes it.
That would be cool.
Because they could do it however they want.
Yeah, they can. But supposedly this is just gonna be like my location, so
That's good.
I'll be the only one there. So like I cleaned the cart yesterday and so I did it how I wanted it. I put everything in order. Let's see. It's also going to be like you get other properties and then do the separation. Love you. I'll be back for.
Okay, she's there when I do.
Bye-bye.
Text me when you get there.
Okay.
Love you.
What? Ah. Caleb, never mind. Will you clean right here? See it? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, just took her out and she some of my shit again.
Powering up. All systems go. Incoming enemies. Prepare for conflict. Yes, of course. I'll get it done. I've got a bad feeling about this. Incoming enemies. Prepare for conflict. Yes, of course. got a bad feeling about this. My sensors have picked up something. I've got a bad feeling about this. My sensors have picked up something. I'll get it done. Incoming enemies. Prepare for conflict. My sensors have picked up something. I've got a bad feeling.
Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about 7 Days to Die. I know this topic is getting a little bit dry and gory, and we've covered this before. But there is a tiny bit of information that I found out over the weekend that I feel like I need to touch on and talk about just a little bit. Then we're going to move on with some other stuff. Just really quick at the end of this, going to do a channel update because I know there's probably people confused about my scheduling. There's a little bit of I could probably cover, and I definitely want to talk about all of the subscriptions and everything that people have been through for the channel, because the channel jumped.
The trader rig is now open. We got food and wares. If you got money.
There's somebody who's boiling water, and it's boiling over. Give me just a minute, get back. We're waiting on you, don't worry about it. I got you covered. Okay, welcome back. Now, today we're going to be talking about how quiet the Fun Pimps have gone yet again. Instead of us having a conversation about what happened with Shwoodle, by the way guys, that video is still up, go check it out if you're confused about what's been happening. I don't want to rehash it over and over and over again. As far as I know, there is nothing new on that particular end of it. The Fun Pimps have not dropped charges as far as I know, there has been no reconciliation, so that is still ongoing. There has not also been an official announcement about what happened. Who was responsible? Is taking responsibility for it. And I say that only because not only did this happen with Shwoodle and that whole legal situation, another situation basically the same way a little bit later, because it was 3.0, and then when 3.0 went stable, somebody pushed out for the PlayStation the wrong version. So this wasn't just a one-off, something happened, there were mistakes made. Mistakes being plural. Someone plural. I know how to say that. Anyway, there were mistakes made. So somebody needs to account for that, and whatever that reconciliation thing is, I have no idea. But nothing has been said publicly. There were no public announcements about how in which these things might be reconciled so that the whole community is on the same page. And the reason why I say that is because even in this 3.1 update, there were people asking, I don't know if these were tongue-in-cheek situations or if they were being serious. Will I get sued if I download this build? a content creator is being, as far as I know currently, is being sued for showing the wrong version of the game. They were not aware that they showed the wrong version. They were given a version, they made content, which was the negotiation, which was the deal, and then after the content had been put up and had gotten views, then they were informed that it was the wrong version, wrong content, take it down now or I sue. So these people are actually on here saying, if I download this, am I going to get sued? And some of these people might actually be content creators. They're just trying to verify that this is a version that they can actually show. Some of these might be tongue-in-cheek, making jokes about the situation, but not all of them. Some of them are genuinely curious if they download this version and make content, or download this version and stream to their friends, or download this version and even just play the game, that they themselves might also get sued. That is a concern, especially since they just went quiet on it. They didn't talk about it. There was no public statement really made other than what was made inside of the Discord for their content creators. The public was never addressed. So, let's go on to other stuff. Aside from just that, there's also this situation. There's an individual who made themselves a chicken recipe based on the stuff and things you can find in the game. So that's it. They shared their recipe, the official recipe and their version of it, and then someone asks, watch out, they might sue you if they realize you gave out the wrong recipe. So now, not only, because we know media is key, whether people like it or not, I know some people get irritated because of a content creator who talks about these things and curse the day that YouTube was ever created, and it's YouTube's problem that all the things going on is bad. I actually think the problem is things are going bad and content creators are reporting on them, and because they are being reported on, it's public instead of you individually in your living room thinking this game is messed up all by yourself. It doesn't seem like a big deal because it's you and your one game. When you get on the internet and find out that game is bad for everybody, then you realize it's a big thing. So, the person reporting the situation is something that has to do with it. Anyway. In this particular case, they're making a joke. Be careful because they might sue you for having the wrong version. This has now become me to 7 days. Every time they post, instead of people asking, I hear the band is coming, people are just asking, are you suing this time? They have repeated the element of good times, not good times. So, let's talk about things and stuff. Some of you explosion has gone mostly negative for the first time in a long time now. If you were looking at it, it probably says mostly positive because there's this little asterisk right there. And you actually have to go into your settings to tell it that you want to see anything that might be off topic. And I was confused about the subject of something being off topic and who's in charge of it. Was behavior involved in it, was 7 days with Flippips involved in it, was Steam involved in it. Well, I've come to find out that there is actually a formula that happens how Steam detects and handles the review bombs. Automated tracking, Steam runs a back-end tool monitoring all games in real time to spot unusual spikes. There was, in fact, an unusual spike in reviews. We can see it. We scroll all the way down here and you can see it. That's a lot of reviews, especially for a game that doesn't get very many reviews, is suddenly reported them a lot. So, okay, first thing, check, yeah, alright. Human verification, I assume that means that there's an individual that comes in and says, that looks off topic, let's flag that. And then it's time bound. They go back a few days to make sure that they're getting that full thing in of people who might be review bombing it. They exclude the information from the I guess you could say they exclude it from the Normie view because the only way you're going to know is if you hover over that asterisk and fully read the tiny print. To know you're not getting the whole review, you're only getting part of it because of a review bomb of some sort. Therefore, you're only seeing what happened beforehand, unless you click on it to tell you want to see that. Then, visibility is the actual text of the reviews is never deleted or hidden. They remain visible on the store page for users who wish to read them or change their preferences. Meaning the only way when someone just random walks up on the page and starts looking through it, they will not see your review. Any review that is done doesn't matter what it's for, any review that is done during that time period will not be seen by the casual player. Whether good or bad, they will not be seen by the casual player. They have to actively tell them they want to see it. Then, when does it end? The volume stabilization, that's the word, volume stabilization stops once the abnormal influx or review subsides. So you would figure about now is when it would probably subside because it's gone mostly positive again, and there's been like 7 negative resets done. So it's basically I was going to say right here is probably when the review bomb actually happened, not back here and not over here. So to me, the review bomb. On-topic exceptions, if the outrage targets the game itself, such as a broken patch or server shutdowns or alternate monetization, Valve considers it on-topic, meaning those reviews will count towards the score indefinitely. So, if there's broken, if their servers are shut down, or if they add altered monetization into a game that didn't previously have it, if these things in the game, then they're considered on topic. So, what does that tell us about all of the reviews that people wrote here this time? I would say, after the review bomb section ends, casually go back and just change your stuff to what you would normally have written. Anyway, if this does not bother you at all, obviously disregard this entire thing, because honestly, this it means something. The fact that this says mostly negative, this is a point on a graph for people who are looking at things, especially when they're find out the game is actually 13 years old instead of July 25th, 2024, which is the actual now official release date of a game that has actually been out for 13 years. So, now, yes, this is when the 1.0 version, when it went gold, when it officially released. But the game has actually been in development for 13 years. So, reviews are being doctored because of this situation. Their release date plays the fact that this thing has been in development for a long time. A lot of the reviews, because they were done during the review bomb time, having nothing to do with it, actually having more to do with the skins that they are now doing unusual monetization. Those should be shown, because that is about the development. These things are no longer being shown to people who have not invested into the game already. So, there's that. Now, I have talked about this during the live stream. I also talked about it in my previous video, whenever we were having a discussion about whether or not this is going to change anything. Will this change anything? This is, you can already see the review bomb has stopped. Obviously, the review bomb doesn't do anything anyway because they've hidden the information. There's no clue. If it was a broken update, which it was for the PlayStation, so if they have the ability to review, I would say yeah, they should have, but I don't think that they have the same type of safeguards in place as Steam does. Steam has got huge customer practices in place. Whether or not all of these always work towards the customer are a different story. The reason why I say this is the ability to do a review bomb block is not always a bad thing. Take it for instance, Palworld, that just recently did their 1.0 release, whatever it was that they did. Apparently there was just like a really big group. I won't even say a big group. There was a group probably legitimately adults that review bombed the game because they couldn't their pals. No, I'm not joking. That was actually a thing that they did. It was never supposed to happen in the game, it was never supposed to be in the game, and I'm sure at some weird point in the future they might eventually make a mod for that. But that was never an element that was actually supposed to be in the game. So it's understandable why that review bomb was locked. These are not things that are supposed to be in the game. I said during that time that this is probably not going to work. It has less to do with the fact that this is just partially blocked, people can't see it anyway, also has to do with the fact that 7 Days went from being a single-player game, mostly multiplayer functions, and some server assistance whenever it comes to the game. For the most part, it was just a single-player experience. It's not a big deal. Now, because we have interactive deals in 90%, I would probably say, live service games, and that their model is DLC, this game is now considered a live service. If you don't believe me, just check this out. Just blow that up. Editing list, blow that, make it a big screen. Do you see how much all of that now costs if you wanted to get everything in the game? Obviously, I do not recommend getting everything in the game. This is actually ridiculous. The fact that you can get, I don't know, pirate outfits and holiday outfits and Hellreaver outfits, and you can wear masks, then Marauders, and most of those are not post-apocalyptic outfits. They're not. The bikini outfit and the swimming trunks, well, okay, they made jiggle physics and they gave the dude abs, which are cool, but they're not even post-apocalyptic. They look brand new. They look like Barbie stuff. Now they've got the big Beak armor set, which is just a mascot outfit, and that's it. It's not even post-apocalyptized, like somebody went and found the costume and re-engineered it as if it was in Mad Max or something like that. Some of these outfits aren't even done that way. But let's not gloss over the fact that there used to be clothes, which is what the beachwear looks like. Now we've got a mascot outfit. There are icons in the game for casual wear. These are clothes that will eventually be DLC that we have already covered in a video before. They're actually the item icons if you want to go look for them yourself. They're either going to be DLC that's purchasable, they're either going to be that or Twitch drops, or any number of things that they could actually give you to put these on the sale.
We are not alone.
So, $92 if you wanted to get all of this content. Obviously, people are going to be like, but these are optional. Yes. While they are working on this, they are not fixing the problems in the game. They are optimizing, they are working on costumes. This is always and will forever be the argument against live service DLC extras. At one point, the optimization, the inclusion of new content, all of that stuff will become the back burner for the actual finishing of the game. In this particular case, they are supposed to finish the game. This isn't supposed to be a never-ending game. There was an end goal. There's a story mode. There's bandits that are supposed to be in there. They said at one point they were going to bring back a learn-by-doing hybrid for our leveling system. So these are all things that they've talked about, but we have yet to see. Now, let's go on, because this could get drug on for years. But basically, I was telling people in my comment section that were asking about this. This is actually going to help, and I've had a few content creators contact me asking me what my opinion is. Based on all of what we're talking about, what we're seeing, the way the game is going, is this actually going to help? My answer is no, it's not. Because it's a live service game. What live service companies prefer to see, that is current playership. Now, we can back out. This is a 3-year thing. So, basically, we can see when the game dropped. The 1.0 version of it dropped. Actually, I don't even know if this is the 1.0. That might be. Pretty sure this is 1.0. As soon as 1.0 left, we dropped well below half of what it was before. The fun times for the game has got a large player base, but actually it's not a lot of people waiting on the game back to the game to see what is actually finished.
Enemies. Prepare for conflict.
They left. Now, there are still some diehards that continue to come back to the game, and most of those diehards also play mods. They also play earlier versions of the game that they like the settings and stuff better for. Then we got, the next version of the 2.0, then it dipped below where it was before, and here we are now where we're at the 3.0 version, and the drop-off has already started. Now, each time that there is hype, it goes further down. Less and less times do they bring back the same amount of people. 2.1 years ago, everybody popped in to try to see whether or not the game was done. obviously, this does not include people who are on consoles. But this is the group that's been here through all of the updates. The consoles got stuck in a rut for a while, and some of those decided to leave the game back when the game was no longer under the control of the FunPeps. The FunPeps finally get it back. They finally release another version, and they release a broken version. So I'm not sure if the numbers on PC, on PlayStation or anything else like that are going to be better. Now, this is the actual grouping of numbers that they're going to care about. 7 days, they don't care. They've been looking at this pipeline of stuff thinking that we'll get them back with the next update. They don't care. This behavior care. Behavior Interactive want the company for some unknown sum of money, and they're going to want that money back. Now, obviously, $98 worth of single grouping of costumes could potentially bring that back, but not everybody's going to buy every single one of those costumes. Some folks are going to realize that sometimes the costumes don't even fit the characters properly. They clip through poorly, so they can just stop buying them. And each time there's another update, less and less people come back for the update. See where I'm going here. Now, the good news is there's also something else that may play into our favor. I'm not sure how detailed this information is. So Fairly Behavior is collecting information about all of the players, the modes that they like to play. I don't know how on earth they're doing this. I'm assuming there are analytics that are involved and they have something that will, I don't know, group all this information together and tell them the information that they're looking for. Supposedly, it's supposed to tell whether or not you're playing an earlier version, modded, or whatever. Now, I can see this as being good or bad. The reason why I say that is what happens if they decide to come out with a 7 Days to Die mod that allows you to take your game back to Alpha 16. But it has some of the newer features, like better graphics, traders, like you can turn on and off your traders, and because it's actually integrated into the game, all of those little toggles and stuff like that work for yours, so you can customize it even more than you could at Alpha 16. And it's better integrated because they found out a large portion of people play an Alpha 16 version. But what if instead of giving it to people, they monetize it? Take off the ability for you to play an earlier version of it. I'm just speculating. But if Behavior wants to get their money back and they find out that people are only playing earlier versions or modded versions, why would they continue to make that free for everybody? Why would they give you the ability to freely mod and freely roll back versions, which we have been able to do since the very beginning? Just like people have been talking about, well, maybe the reason why the whole thing with Shawoodle went the way that it did is because they're actually planning to monetize bandits in the story mode, which we were promised the bandits in the story mode. And I've had quite a few people tell me in the comment section, I don't even care about the bandits. I'm like, I'm right there with you. There's no way they can release them and balance them as far as I'm concerned, because they've spent so long nerfing the character because they haven't had the bandits. That's a long story that we've talked about 1,000 times in other videos, so I won't get into that. If you're interested, just look at the comment section. I'll rehash that a little better. But I don't really care about the bandits. I care about the story mode. It really is curious. Because we've been hearing about it for so long, I just want to see what they wind up going with. Not because it actually changes anything about the story. You still spawn in, brain dead, and learn a whole bunch of stuff, and eventually become the king or queen of the apocalypse, and then you start another game. A never-ending process of starting another game. There's no rollover anything from one game to the next game that gives you a reason to go back in other than you can build your base differently. You want to try some different settings, that kind of stuff. There's no rollover, so the story mode really doesn't really faze me. It's just, it would be something interesting to see. Bandits, like I said, I don't think there's a way in hell they're going to be able to actually balance them, so I'm not really worried about them. It's just the fact that these things were promised. And promised for years. Before I even joined the fandom of this game, these promises were being made. So, yeah, people still expect them. Now, if they sell them on DLC, pushback is going to be huge. And if this is any indicator, actual game. The broken version that people wind up downloading on PlayStation and stuff, those things are legitimate
I've got a bad
conversations
feeling
we
about
have. In
this.
fact, they have taken things out of the game and sold it back to us, taken away clothes and sold the clothes back to us, taken away realism and sold us chicken suits. Because of these things, they are getting mostly negative, but people are not singing them. They're hidden. And let's quickly move on. We have already covered all of this. Like I said, this may or may not affect this at all. There's an 8,000 decrease in the amount of current playership. If behavior was ever going to react in any way to any feedback, that's the number they care about. If you really want to try and help the game later, the only thing you can do is turn it off now. Modded versions, all of the versions. There's plenty of people who have been telling me that maybe take your system offline so it can't register that you're playing. Maybe that's what you want to do. I don't know. I know that there's some people who are never going to stop playing the game because they've got game runs at some point, or they've got runs going with. There was one individual saying play with your children, you're not going to stop just because of that. I understand that you cannot play your game. I'm saying if you want to change your game, it's the game. Review bond is just the starter. You can't stop there. Now, let's move on with that because I can talk about that crap all day. Oh, not everybody wants to hear about all day. Let's bring up other things. Quickly, let's just cover. Let's just cover the channel. There have been 1,409 subscribers, new subscribers to the channel in the last 28 days. And I want to thank you guys for being here. If you are watching this video and you have not subscribed, only like 20% of the people who watch my videos actually subscribe. So if you haven't, please go ahead and do so. If you